Yeah, that's good.
Good. This is so neat, you know, I just love seeing you guys. I've really missed it.
We're getting close to the conference. It snuck up on me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I'm reading, and I just haven't got quite through yours, Parbati, but so far it's very impressive. Very impressive. When I was thinking about it as I was reading it and thinking, man, look how far this has developed and how far we've come, and what a fabulous experience it's been. And I don't know if I've captured in my paper yet or not, but I still have some more to do on kind of thinking about the significance. But I think Jack nailed it that one day when he said, what we've come up with in our interpretation of inequity is, I think, quite unique to our group. And certainly your influence, Parbati, has been dramatic and significant. And I thank you for that, because it's really giving me a lot to think about.
Thank you. I have sent a short note after reading your significance section, Jack, your and Misal. Recently I have sent, so you will find there. And I express like how I found like the way you have said I was logical at the time of reading the paper. So I try to make sense of it, like how I perceive that after going through some of the text. So I noted down it there. And it was really good to read the papers. I could not read the whole section, but I read the significance. And, you know, when I saw the Dalai Lama and he talked about the self, it was like self-transformation. And we believe that here, my teachers in my research process also, and it is very common saying or understanding, like transformation begins from self. And that self is inner self, not the egoist self, but the inner self. So transformation from there. And this is very common understanding, but of course there is contradiction at times, and that I found very significant in our context as well. And you know, Ms. Al, your paper, whenever you have raised the questions, and I also talk with my students and gave those questions, and it was almost similar responses from them. And it was very eye-opening for me, and that will be helpful for better planning in my next semester.
So did you?
I love that.
And I read Jack's significance, and I was moved from the picture, and the later, you know, I try to express in that note.
Yes, I've got that. That's great, Parbati. Thank you.
Yes, it was.
So we are really in our last week to kind of upload that. We could hold it till next Monday if we wanted, or we could simply let it go.
Yeah, there's just something, Jackie. I'm wondering whether you like this idea. Michelle and Parbati won't know that we've been approached by Lonnie Rowell just to write some reflections on that first Global Assembly on Knowledge Democracy that was in Cartagena. That was 2017. And it built on, yeah, but it was at AERA, but they had a day about that Global Assembly for Knowledge Democracy. And we built on what we'd done at AERA in 2015 in Toronto. So we had multimedia Skype, you know, communications. Now, there's something there, I think, that in terms of what we've been doing with this idea of equity in our relationships together, as we prepared for this year's, you know, AERA Symposium, that has actually moved forward from where we were in 2015, 2017, and it is an evolving and developing collaboration. And it feels to me that Jackie's in a, I don't know if you agree, Jackie, but you're in a really good position just to frame what we're doing, you know, when you look at the significance of what you've done, so that people are very aware when we present at AERA this time, that if you like, it's evolved. You know, we've done such a lot, you know, 2015, 17, 2021 and 22. And it fits in with what Parbati has actually written superbly in the 2021 paper about that relationship between the Western critical tradition, in which Habermas's emancipatory and analysis of cognitive interests, are you with me, actually link into, could I just get this? I won't be a second. Sorry about this. John's out. Hello, Jack Whitehead. Oh, hi, love. I'm just on Skype, love. Okay, love. Thanks, bye. Sorry about that. Yes, that's that. And that with that sense that Parbati actually stresses about the Sattvic influence with love and care and those values. Am I making sense here that even in the here and now, we are expressing in an embodied way the values that, if you like, it's being critical of critical theory. You know, we're saying, look, and Parbati puts it really well in a couple of paragraphs in the 2021 paper. And it just felt that where we are now with this kind of medium and the communications, that we can highlight that within our AERA 2022 symposium. That was all I was thinking. But Jackie, you might, you know, give it that sense of that framing that we can then come back to in future years to say this is where we have come to.
Yeah, regarding emancipation, freedom, democracy, I can bring some Western wisdom traditional concept, and they're very significant and very different. I can discuss that explicitly because I can also find some literature written by Nepali scholars about that. So I can contribute if I get the opportunity to participate in the discourse.
That would be really great, Parbati, because as I say, I think this is so important in terms of what I've seen globally. You know, that the literally the critical Western tradition, you know, the Western academic tradition of critical discourse has dominated. Your point, you know, your point now, and I think there's also a gender issue, because I found that sense of the women's ways of knowing with that relational dynamic of the sensitivity to the other is also really important. So I think we've got something that we can say, look, this is where we've got it to in 2022. And Parbati, anything you can add to that? Michelle, you know, I still go back to a video we've got of you presenting with Jackie, you know, and Liz actually came in through the open invite. And it was emancipatory that Liz made the contribution because both of you opened it up. And then there was a very creative dialogue which emerged from that. And it just feels to me that we can actually, we're so confident now, I think, because we've got that history of these presentations.
And it was amazing. It came out of a mess. Do you remember that?
I do.
When we were in Montreal.
Like a phoenix from the ashes.
Yeah.
We couldn't get the technology to work. And we, you know, we're going, ah! And eventually we just said, stop. Let's just give this up and move on. And out of that emerged this amazing transformation.
It really did. And it came out of that relationship between you both. You know, you then, in a very open and generative way, you engage with your audience and you brought the people in, as you say, in that transformative way. Now, that was embodying and expressing these values that I think are really important. But I hope you can, it's almost like giving it a framing that we all feel part of. And it feels to me, Jackie, if you can take the lead with that, you know, in terms of the actual session itself, we can all support that, but also we're doing it from our own unique perspectives. And we'll have our papers all on the web. We could send that to the discussant. If you can actually, over the next few days, just actually give it that, possibly that kind of framing, so that we can say to the discussant, this is what we believe, is the central significance of our symposium.
So we have each to upload our papers.
Yeah.
And then would the framing be attached to my paper, or what?
Yeah, I was thinking to your paper.
Okay.
And also, I would then try to find out if I can get the email of our discussant and actually send her the actual proposal, with all the attachments that we've got now with our presentations, so that she's actually got it, as well as being on the AERA site, but to have a backup where we've got it all on, my site with all our papers. But I think it would be lovely if we could get it to the discussant so that you could give it that framing. We could give brief introductions ourselves, open it up, and then see what the discussant actually makes of what we've actually presented. That would what I was hoping that we could agree to.
One of my concerns is the pressure that Swaroop is under. And I wonder if I send her an email and said, look, could we spend an hour this week and just see where the examples are to support your paper and get hers done this week? Because I think mostly our papers are done.
They are. But if you could see with Swaroop, what Swaroop is doing, which is really wonderful for this equity, she's on the national curriculum body and focusing on inclusion. Now, if she just had that practical example, we could highlight that. And then later we can actually add it to our website, the website, to show what she's doing. So if you could do that, Jackie, I think that would be really excellent. But you see, from the 2015 Toronto one, Swaroop is actually on the video that we can, I've been trying to get everything and find it and put it onto YouTube again today. And I've done that, but Swaroop is there. Now, she's done amazing over the last 6 years. When you think of what she's now doing with that sense of the equity and the life skills. So yeah, that would be really good, Jackie, if you could actually contact Swaroop, and do that. But
I think that I could write the examples. I mean, we've watched this develop, and the extent of her work is massive. Yeah. In a country of, what is it, 1.3 billion people.
That's right.
And I mean, she's touched so many lives. It's
incredible. But can I also just stress that there's a quality that we saw Michelle and yourself with that symposium, and where you've been working with Parbati, Jackie, over time now, and communicating and sharing. And we 5 of us, mainly the 4 of us here, but 5 with Swaroop, that there's a quality of that relation that I think comes into also what Swaroop is doing, in terms of that sense of equity within the Indian education system. So it's trying to build on that insight. I just bought this one. I don't know if you've come across Viktor Frankl's work. He was in the concentration camps. Viktor Frankl, his key text was called, The Search for Meaning, Man's Search for Meaning. But this one, he gave the lectures in 1946 when he was writing that. And it's only just been published, called Yes to Life in Spite of Everything. Okay, Yes to Life in Spite of Everything. And it's just the same kind of qualities of hope that I experienced as I work with you, for this symposium. So, okay, I don't want to go on anymore, but that's really great. Okay.
So anything that you're thinking that would help for this framing would be really helpful. So maybe we could just go around. And how about you, Michelle? What are you thinking?
I was trying to think with my linear brain, trying to think about what it would look like, in we have an hour, right?
Or
Is
is
that
it
right? Is that how long our
90 minutes?
symposium is?
I think it's 90 minutes.
90 minutes?
I think so.
Okay. So what that would look like as far as time-wise for each of us, what are we thinking as far as, do we each take 10 minutes to kind of talk through our own personal work? And then there's another portion where we talk about maybe the specific growth and the relationship within the culture of inquiry, and then discussing pieces. I don't know, how does it look like it all lines up, and what are we each charged with kind of preparing to be able to come in and make that happen?
Well, we've got some time over the next 3 weeks
Mhm.
where we can kind of get that a little closer to what we want to do. I think the first hurdle was to get the papers written, and I think then we can talk about, so how will this look, feel,
Mhm.
and how can we develop with this group that's with us the culture of inquiry that we try to develop with the others that we work with. So that's kind of where I think I'm going to start the framing.
Yeah.
And so then once we think, okay, how can we build a relationship with this group so they can get a sense of the significance of what we have and how it's helped us all in significant ways transform our thinking and being.
That sounds really good. And it's almost that with the culture of inquiry, we've each got our own unique context. So with our papers, the titles actually talk about, for example, Parbati with the Nepal, with myself in the UK, Michelle USA, Swaroop India, Jackie Canada. So we've each got a unique, if you like, context within which we are actually trying to improve practice. So as well as what you've just said, Jackie, I think it's worth highlighting that although it's our own unique context, we're actually sharing this within literally a culture of inquiry, which is global, as we look at what we're learning with each other. So that's good.
What are you thinking, Parbati?
We have time to frame the whole planning, but our focus, I think, like I need to focus the context and how I can connect culture of inquiry with my context and discuss my paper within that time. So that would be more meaningful to the rest of others. Like, I think I won't be discussing a whole section what I have written in my paper, but the context and connecting with the culture of inquiry, and what happened when working within or being within that culture of inquiry. So the particular word culture and inquiry, and they are completely different in my context, and I can bring and connect with that.
That's
so
great.
it would be more interesting, and I would be talking in that way.
Very good. Are we okay?
Okay, so let's just review. So I'm going to do some work on framing this symposium and share it with you. And we are all going to upload our papers before Monday.
Yeah, before next Monday.
And mine is going to include that framing at the front,
Yeah, that's good.
right?
Yeah.
And then going forward, we're going to get into more of the specifics of what does a symposium look like? How do we use our 90 minutes productively to create a relationship with the people with us and take our thinking on? I would also like to share my paper with Femke in the Netherlands and see if she gets the sense of what I've learned and what the research looks like. So
Very good.
if any of you would like to sort of get any kind of validation from outside the group, feel free to do that.
Right. Okay.
I don't think we have much time for amending the paper,
No.
but it's, I mean, it's just a point in time. You know, the paper is just a point in time.
Yeah.
Because you continue learning and thinking and, you know, improving.
You were going to do one other thing, Jackie, and that was contact Swaroop.
Right.
Okay.
I'll do that today.
Yeah.
I think her meeting is finished today, the big
Okay.
national meeting.
Good.
And I'll see if we can actually get a meeting and kind of just go through that paper strategically and get in the examples from the many that she has.
Yeah.
Just getting them included.
It is. Okay. And so we're all right for next Monday. I'll send a note round, you know, so URL to Swaroop. It's the same URL we use each week, you know, the one for the Zoom. It's but I'll send that around again.
But next Monday, it's back to 10, Michelle.
Okay.
UK changes its time next weekend.
Yeah, we will.
This is just another example of my Western lens. Not everybody changes when we change.
Yeah.
That was my reaction when I read your email, Jackie.
Yeah.
I was like, she knows me too well.
Well, I mean, I made a mistake one day. Jack caught me too. I was on an hour early and I said, yeah, I know. I'm just being safe here.
Yes.
So next week, 10. Got it. Thank you, Jackie, for looking out for me.
Very good.
Lovely to see everybody.
Yeah.
And
You too.
see you next Monday.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Parbati.
Bye-bye.